Can you just expand on what you're saying? Because some councils have managed to absorb the costs.
That is true, because the government has been imposing big cuts on local government funding generally, and it's imposed the largest of those cuts on the most deprived authorities, where you find the largest number of people who are affected by these changes. But this is a tax increase that is affecting a lot of people, including some who weren't paying any council tax at all. Why? Because they're on the very lowest incomes. And as you've just reported, it's affecting disabled people and carers and war widows and veterans. And the Citizens Advice Bureau, who see a lot of people who are struggling with bills, have said today they're seeing families who are forced to choose between staying on the right side of the law and actually feeding themselves. And that is a very serious situation.
Is it not right that people should take more responsibility for what they owe?
Well, of course, and if people can pay, they should. But this takes us back to the poll tax, because the poll tax got into real trouble because it was requiring a payment from people who had very, very little in the way of income. And the man who designed the poll tax, Lord Jenkin, has described the changes that came in April as poll tax Mark II. Now, people have got energy bills that are rising. Some of these families are affected by the bedroom tax. And they're trying to work out, well, which of these bills am I going to pay? And the fact is, ministers are saying, well, this is contradicted by official statistics. You should ask Brandon Lewis in a moment. He doesn't have any statistics on the impact of the changes since April. And that's what our survey has shown today. And 156,000 summonses already issued to people who've been affected by the changes shows the impact of this change, which came in the very same month that David Cameron gave a tax cut to people earning more than £150,000 a year, and that tells you everything you need to know about whose side he's on.
Well, what I think Brandon Lewis, the local government minister, will tell us in a moment is that your data is flawed.
Well, our data is based on information given to us by councils. We ask councils, if you collect this information, how many people affected by the changes in April, people who weren't paying before who are having to pay something, people who were paying a certain amount before who are having to pay more, and how many of those have you issued summonses to? So this is data that comes from the councils themselves. I'm saying to the government, you should wake up to what's happening up and down the country. You should start collecting this information yourselves so that you can begin to understand the impact of the changes you have imposed on people, this tax increase on people who are on the very lowest incomes, because that's why they get council tax benefit in the first place.